Hey guys, welcome back to LegendBTV, where legends go for music discussion, comedy, and more. And today we're talking about the newest album from 3 Days Grace called Outsider. This is the 7th album from longtime rock band 3 Days Grace. My apologies, this video was supposed to release last night, but you know what it is, life got in the way, things got in the way, but we're back here with it now. But yeah, 3 Days Grace, these guys have been around for about 15 years now, releasing their debut album exactly 15 years ago. All I know is a lot of people listen to them from in the emo and rock scene, so I figured I'd check some of their stuff out, and whenever I did a few years ago, I remember exactly nothing of that, so I went into this album with exactly no expectations one way or the other because I don't really know much about 3 Days Grace, to be honest. Nonetheless, I figured this new record would at least give me a chance to explore 3 Days Grace and where they are now in their career. Unfortunately, after hearing some not so good things about their last record, Human, I was a little bit cautious, but I still went in with some decent expectations, hoping this would be good, because hey, it's rock music, I love rock, but I had hoped to find at least something I liked on Outsider. Was I right? Well, not really. Unfortunately, this album is so boring. The worst thing is I can't really come down too hard on this album and say it really sucks or anything, because it really doesn't. It's not awful. It's just basically a record settling in all territories of mediocrity for me. Let's start with the production, and all throughout this album we get some painfully uninventive melodies and some really generic, sterile guitar progressions all throughout. Unfortunately, the album sounds pretty flavorless and dull most of the time. The album sometimes moves at such a slow, draggy pace. The music to this album at least has some punch to it, and the drums and guitars are definitely there. It's just, unfortunately, they just move at a plodding, slower pace than I would like. And I just feel like, in general, the record has very little dynamics or very little things memorable about it. If I'm being honest, this album put me to sleep almost the first time listening to this. That's just how boring it was for me. And that's before getting into the lyrics, which are basically those standard emo rock lyrics that you get with pretty much almost every metal album. Not really saying the lyrics are bad, it's just, well, they seem kind of been there, done that. The album is basically revolving around being an outsider, a person who isn't really all about being like everybody else, and doesn't really fit in, just kind of feels like an outsider, and in their personality and the way they think. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, I'm not saying that at all. The lyrics are most apparent on the appropriately named track I Am an Outsider, where he basically embraces being an outsider and not fitting in with the crowd and becoming another soulless, generic, cool kid. Part of me wants to really respect that, because I do commend someone wanting to be who they are, even if who they are isn't accepted as cool. Like, honestly, be yourselves, guys. People will really see who you are as a great person. Just a food for thought. But then again, part of me, the negative side of me, is thinking, well, this is an album basically saying, oh, I'm not cool, so I'm just going to whine about how being cool is not the best thing. But I'm going to be nice and compliment these guys for staying true to themselves, keeping a rock sound to this album, not trying to sell out to pop or do anything like that. And I will admit, some of the riffs on this album are not bad. The production on this isn't bad. It's just pretty standard. Like, way too standard. Like, nothing really goes out of the box or just rises above plain mediocrity, unfortunately, all throughout this album. Instrumentally, it's okay. Vocally, it's okay. Lyrically, it's pretty been there, done that, which is basically this whole album in a nutshell. But I'm not going to tear apart this album for the lyrics being really sappy. I can honestly appreciate sappy lyrics if the music was done the right way or just had a little more pep to it, maybe, or not even that, or just maybe even more interesting, more dynamic, more fun, more something, just a little more than what we got on this album. Unfortunately, like I said, this album just feels pretty white bread, milquetoast, pretty stale, and once again, that's not saying it's bad. There are some standout tracks here. I do like Right, Left, Wrong. It's a pretty good opener, honestly, and it features one of the more inventive and fun riffs on this album, in my opinion. And there's also some tracks that show that there is a little bit of energy to this album, even though a lot of it is lacking. Like tracks like Villain I'm Not has a pretty good guitar riff in that song too. And I do have to take into account that these guys have been at it for so long, and bands do start to lose their luster after a while, and it's kind of expected that we're not going to get probably their best work yet at this point in their career. But that also doesn't help the fact that this album, it just doesn't seem to be for me. Honestly, I do respect this album. I'm not saying this is a bad album. It's not a bad album. It's just very forgettable, pretty generic, honestly. I've probably heard a lot of these riffs and sounds just done a lot better. Yeah, guys, unfortunately, this sound is just pretty stale at this point. Yeah, unfortunately, guys, I'm thinking a decent, strong 4 out of 10 in this album, and only a recommendation if you're a 3 Days Grace fan, or if you like rock music and you're interested in this album, maybe it'll click more for you. But honestly, for me, guys, I tried to be nice here. Honestly, I could have turned this album for the mess of mediocrity that it was, or I'm just going to stay calm like I am and just say, hey, it's an inoffensive enough listen. It's not going to offend or bug you unless you don't like these kind of lyrics. Then I would say don't check this out. But if you're in the mood for just some nice, some alright rock music, then yeah, you know what? Go ahead, check this out. Anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed my review of the newest album from 3 Days Grace called Outsider. Feel free to subscribe to my channel if you like. Like, comment, share your thoughts on this new 3 Days Grace album. And more album reviews are coming. I got a top 10 list in plan for you. More episodes of Every Hit Artist Ranked are coming soon. Got some chart reviews. A couple of future collabs coming too, so stay tuned for that. We got a lot of awesome stuff coming on LegendBTV. I'm super hyped about it. I hope you guys are too. And subscribe. We got more coming.